But now to introduce our next speaker, which is Kym Williams.
And I've actually gone through
Kym
his
has
slides.
come all the way up from Adelaide just yesterday.
I'm a little bit excited.
And I've actually gone through his slides and his handouts that he's going to give out, and I'm a little bit excited. So I don't know if anybody else has had a look at them, but what Kym does, he talks about automation in the business, he talks about creating cultures in the business that can help it operate.
Entrepreneurs under 40
a very, very smart operator being named the top 40 entrepreneurs under 40 years of age in Australian magazine for 2 years running. So that's obviously very prestigious in itself, very well respected, and basically, I know Kym's good because his team is good. Basically, I've been dealing with Kym's team over the last 6 to 8 weeks, and they are just super efficient, and that is amazing. So I'll let you run through and request that you put your hands together for Kym Williams.
Thanks very much. Thanks. So, just in terms of background, the 2 sessions I'm going to go through today, the first one is about how to automate and systemise your business. So I want to stress, this won't be a technology talk, nor will it be this is the process you need to follow. It's more about how you reduce the dependency on you as an owner. And that's a really important lesson for me, which I'm going to talk about over the next hour, hour and a half. The second session that I'm going to talk about post-lunch is all about how to build a great culture. And for me, being a business owner, I have 3 businesses, BRS, which is a consultancy company in infrastructure, resources and government. We help these big infrastructure projects, the way I like to describe it, we help our big infrastructure projects win those big bids. So you know all those multi-billion-dollar tunnels and bridges and all those other big structures you see all over Asia? We're generally working with the construction and designers to help them win it and then deliver high performance on it. So that's one part of our business. The other businesses we've got are Easy Consult and Easy Government. Easy Consult is all about building great consultants in the non-technical area because they're very good technically, but they're often not as good in the non-technical area of their businesses. And then the other one's Easy Government. So I just want to highlight that first up front. What I've also done is, as we go through, I'm going to try and make this as interactive as possible. I've got a range of tools and templates. So everything that you see is yours. If you want editable copies, just email me. I'll provide my details. And also I write 2 blogs where we give this stuff away. One called the BRS blog and the other one's on Easy Consult. We literally post 2 blogs a week on these topics. Feel free to access whatever you like. Hopefully you'll get some value out of those blogs. So the first topic about building versus growing, and I want to start with a story. So in terms of background, I grew up on a sheep station in the far north of South Australia, and I'm guessing there'll be very few people who know where Carrollton is. Has anyone heard of Carrollton? Yeah, that's normally the response. It's a small town 400 kilometres north of Adelaide, and it's known for a rodeo. That's the main thing it's known for. It has 50 people literally in the town. So I grew up in a sheep station. I've got 5 sisters, only son, and very rare for a son of the Williamses, given that there's a hell of a lot of us up there, to not go back on the farm. So I actually went down to Adelaide. I'm an accountant as well, so there's a few of us. Robert, we were talking about that before. So there's a few of us that are an accountant. So I went down to uni for 2 things, and I actually was very reluctant to go down. One was uni, and one was to play a little bit of cricket. So my background in playing a little bit of cricket at district level has really probably built a little bit of the mindset which you're going to hear about now. So come down to Adelaide, did accounting, worked in your big 4 accounting firms, found that I'm not an accountant. I'm more passionate about the people and the leadership. Worked in public and private sector, lived in Perth and Sydney, working mainly on these engineering and infrastructure projects as a general manager of an engineering firm. So I've come from that infrastructure background. I'm passionate about it. Started the business BRS 4 years ago, right at the start of the GFC. It was a beautiful time. Just a little bit afterwards, actually. But all jokes aside, so I've been through that journey of building a great business. And the comment that I'd make up front before I get into the slides, and I'm a really big fan of mentors, people who help you out and who help you develop your business. And there's a guy, and I'll name his name, he's a wonderful human being called Mark Jones in Adelaide. He owns a very, very successful construction company called Lead Engineering. And he's a guy that when I first started my business, because I'd worked with him heavily when I was at Parsons Brinkerhoff in my previous corporate life, he said, Kym, come to one of our board meetings and see how we run our business. And he said, look, I'll even pay you to come along and sit in the board meeting. He said, I don't want you to speak, I just want you to observe and tell me what you think. Because he said, you'll learn more lessons in that one day about how you run your business than what you'll do in the next 5 years. So I went along to this board meeting. Now, this is a $180 million a year business. There's 3 owners in the business. And I sat there and observed their board meeting. And at the end of it, when we were having a beer, he said to me, so what did you learn? And I always remember it, it really struck me this much. I said, your business is worthless. And he looked at me and he said, shit. He said, tell us what you're really saying. But the point that I was going to make, I just read a book. I don't know if anyone's read the book. And if you get one thing out of the talks I talk about today, if you read this one book, I think it will assist you no end. And it will tie back to what we're going to be talking about over the next 2 sessions. But there's a book by John Warrellow called Built to Sell. Who here has read that book? Has anyone read that book? It's on your bookshelf. Well, when you get home, do one thing and flick me an email if you can when you've read it. That book will change the whole way you go about running a business, in my opinion. And hopefully by the end of the sessions today, you'll have an insight as to why. But I want to change the perception. It's not that you build a business to sell. And this is the point that he makes. You build a business to thrive without you. And that's really, really important if you're serious about being in business long term. Because each of you don't go into business just for the money. You go in it for the lifestyle. So for me, I have 4 key objectives and I'll share my strategic plan. Nick talked about strategic plans. I'm going to share my strategic plan. I want more time, more money, more freedom, more meaning. And the money is actually not that big a deal now because we've done very well with our businesses. But I tell you what, more time with my 3 kids who I love and my wife who works in the business. More meaning doing the work I want to work with my clients means a hell of a lot to me. And more freedom is about doing the things around life, adventure, travel, and doing different things. So I plant those seeds up front with the view to, that's very much what I'm going to be talking about. How do you build a business versus grow a business? And there's a big difference. A very big difference between growing a business and building a business, in my humble opinion. So we'll get started. Hopefully that sort of sets the scene. And the way that I'll work, as I said, I don't normally speak much, but what I will say is my style will be slightly different, where I'll be just asking you to think about a few things. There's tables, interacting. Please ask any questions as we go through. I'm happy to answer them, or we'll try and answer them. If I can't get you an answer, yes. Yes, Troy.
How's a $180 million business at the moment?
Well, that's the seed I'm going to plant with you. I'll answer part of it now, but hopefully at the end of this you will see this. That business was too dependent on its 3 owners. So if that business was to be sold, Troy, even market knowledge would not get any money. So they've now worked very, very hard in the last 3 years to reduce dependency on their owners. So can I pose the question? I'll ask the first question now. Why would I be that radical in saying that point? Why would a business that's $180 million a year, dependent on their 3 owners, that's a key point, be worthless? Yep, absolutely. What else? Very good point. Without them, it's worth nothing. They were so tight. They worked so many long hours. No one could make a decision without them. One ran the engineering, the bid work. Another one ran the proposal work. The other one the project management. They had not built a business to last. They built a business that was, yes, $180 million a year business, but worthless if they went to sell it. Absolutely worthless. Now, can I stress the point, and I made that point before, I'm not suggesting you sell your business. That's not what I'm trying to make the point. The mindset, though, is reduce the dependency on you. And as hard as that is, particularly given it's your baby if you've founded it, as hard as that is, in my opinion, it's got to be your mindset. So, does that answer the question? Yep, so we'll talk it through. So, let's get started. So, just in terms of background, I'm not a bigger fan of ego slides, but this one is, I think, important in terms of what I call a bit of recognition for, I guess, the business. BRS, since August 2009, has been a pretty remarkable business. Telstra Business Award winner, averaged fastest growing business in South Australia in terms of 205% growth every year for the last 4 years. We've also won a number of other awards, such as the Business Leaders. We're in the BRW Fast Starters as one of the fastest growing companies. Now, I'm not stressing that point to highlight to you rah-rah. I'm stressing that point because we've done that without working long hours, and we've done that in the way that our whole team is engaged to get on with the job, so I can go out and do things like this. So Steve, if I can ask you a question in terms of dealing with our team, before we start, what were some of the things you noticed with the team in terms of how the team interacted with you over the last 8 weeks in preparation for today? Just so I can plant the seed before we get started. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah. Let's grab the microphone. So it was amazing. Every I was dotted, every T was crossed. There was no stone left unturned, and very rarely did I actually hear from Kym until there was a personal email that I CC'd everybody into anyway, and that you would then respond personally because I'd addressed it to you personally.
Yes.
But all of the stuff that needed to be done was never touched by Kym.
No.
And I said that's where your message here is congruent with your business, and that was so impressive. That everything you talk about, you live and you do. And as a business owner of nearly 12 years, who works very hard in their business, this is gold for me. And you look at those awards, you just don't get them awards if you don't have a business that hasn't rocked it. So, it was a dream actually. I thought, well, how can I get these girls working? But it's probably not even just working for me.
No.
It's probably knowing how to get them
Yes.
to work for me.
Yeah. No, and I asked that question because if the experience had been different, I'd hope I'd get the feedback. But I want to take you through now how we do that.
I would have told you I'd move the date.
Oh, no.
If it was all dealing with you, I would have gone, oh, we've cancelled the event.
Oh, no problem.
Don't need you anymore. But
Yeah, so just the reason I ask that is I'm a big advocate of practicing what you preach. It's a very important part of what you do regardless of what business you're in. So let's get started. So building versus growing. Without highlighting, and please don't look at this straight away, but I just want to prompt the question. What do you think is the difference between building and growing a business? Just to hear from the group. What are some of the differences? And don't look at the cheat sheet yet. I'll talk that through in a minute. You may have already looked at it, but just from your point of view, if you relate it back to your businesses, what's the difference? Yeah.
Building, you have to lay the bricks yourself. Growing, you just have to water the plant.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yep. Others? And please, interactive in terms of any questions you want to ask. What's the difference between building and growing? And then I'm going to go through this list because I think it's very important. Yeah.
Growing is seeking cash. Building, you're putting cash in.
Yeah. Yep. Others? I have a slightly different view on that, but we'll talk that through. Yep. Any other elements around building versus growing a business? Building versus growing. Yeah.
Growing seems to be more organic, less control. It tends to go a little bit more where it goes, where building seems to be a bit more structured and planned and landscaped.
Yes. Yep. Very good. Yep.
Buildings, you're working in the business. Growing, you're working on it, more or so.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, I'll try and differentiate that because I think the building is more on the business and the growing is actually in the business, which I'll talk about. So what I'll do is I'm going to put this chart up, and this is in front of you. So all these templates I'm providing, feel free to utilise them. I've also written blogs which explain these in more detail, so feel free to grab them. So this is my view, and I'm going to talk through this because this is fundamental to everything that we're going to go through. I think growing a business is about having a revenue focus. I think building a business is actually getting the right systems and processes in place so you can scale up. I think even around the fact that growing a business is about saying we need bigger clients. My argument is, and I've seen it many times, if you're dependent more than 20% of revenue on one key client, it's not a good business. It's not a sustainable business. You need to have the right structures developed to service any client. And as I said, I'll work through this process. Little things like any person can deliver on the growth is the growing a business. I believe you've actually got to build the right people and the right capability and develop your people. It's a very important part of building a great business. And you'll see some of the other things where reliance on key personnel versus, as Steve pointed out, no dependency culture as everything is documented and understood. Right through to some other areas, and this is the big one for me. Lack of role clarity as to who does what. Clear role clarity across the team. And because I do a lot of work in the areas of leadership, culture and high performance, the three biggest things in any business generally that your staff may not tell you, but are generally the things that they struggle with the most. They don't understand the big picture. They're not clear not only on their role, but others' role in the team. And collaboration and communication in terms of making sure they get the right information and they collaborate with the right people to do their job. They're generally, and that will be backed up this afternoon with a study that I'll show you, they're generally the three biggest issues. And so if you work your way through, Long hours regularly, sustainable workload shared by all. Reactive versus proactive. Low morale, high staff engagement, short-term success, long-term success. Dependency on owners and in the business versus owners enjoy the business and are on the business. Right through to business is worthless, business is saleable. So feel free to challenge me on this. I'm going to post this right up front and then I'm going to work your way through how you do this. But why am I highlighting this? Is there's a major difference between growing and building a business. Why I believe building a business is critical if you're serious about long-term success.
All the values in the processes and in the systems in your business. It's not, in the personnel. So
Yep.
if your business is ever going to be worth anything, and you're going to be able to grow it, have a good sustainable business that hopefully provides you with long-term passive income where you're getting around the world,
Yep.
you need to have those processes in place.
You do. Yep, very good. Others? This is a really fundamental point to what we're going to talk about.
I think investors are buying basically income stream.
Yes.
And they need to be able to reproduce that income stream. And
Yep.
without building up business, solid business structures,
Yep.
they can't do that.
So I'll pose a question to you. So we had a Big Four accounting firm try and buy us last year, BRS, and they offered us close to $10 million for the business. I'm talking very open here, admittedly an earn-out clause. Why? Why? Yeah. Structured, makes money while you sleep. Yep. Because one of the biggest risks when I started the business, everyone said, don't make it about Kym Williams, which it doesn't. It should not be about Kym Williams. And I'll tell you what, if you've got a business that's just about you, it's worthless. And that's in the most respectful way I'm trying to say that. But if you have a business where it makes money while you sleep, you generate other passive income opportunities, and the only reason we've been able to develop the online coaching programs Easy Consult and Easy Government is because we have an entrepreneurial team. We have a fantastic team, but we've built that team. We have built that team to be great. And it's taken a lot of heartache to get the right people, with the right mindset, the right attitude, and those adaptable to change. And it's a non-negotiable for us. We hire 100% on attitude, which I'll talk about a little bit further this afternoon. 100%, not 50%, 100%. And those that are most adaptable to change. So it's very important with our business, we've built an entrepreneurial team. We are not a consultancy business, we're an entrepreneurial firm. And I want everyone in the business to think like a business owner. Every person in our business to think like a business owner. And if I say, who here's a business owner? If you can just put up your hand, who here's a business owner? So I then pose the question, why would you want everyone in your business to think like a business owner? Yep. But what else? Let's really drill this down to their motivation there. What else? Why do we want them to think like a business owner as opposed to an employee? They will respond like a business owner. They will think like a business owner, but they'll respond like a business owner. What else? Why? Why do we want them? And I'll ask a lot of questions. Why? Why do we want them to think like business owners? And we go home, and I go home frustrated to Nicole, this was in the past, and said, they're not thinking like business owners, they're not thinking that way. Well, I had to look at myself and think, what am I micromanaging? What am I controlling? What am I being perfectionistic about? And what do I need to let go and tolerate some mistakes in order to empower them to think like business owners?
Give them some ownership.
Exactly. Be the change you want to see, which is the classic Andy quote, and I love that quote. So if you want more trust, give more trust. If you want them to make decisions, let them make decisions. If you want them to make mistakes because it's going to push us closer towards our goals, think about your response to the mistakes. Is this making sense? So please, yes.
How do you think that applies if you've got a chain of stores and
Yes.
you've got managers and you want brand consistency?
Yes. Yeah. So my strong view on that, and I'll take you through that, is that mistakes, there's two types of mistakes. So I'm lucky enough to do some leadership and culture high performance work with two organisations in the sport area. Geelong Footy Club and also Adelaide Thunderbirds. I don't know if you've heard of them. Adelaide Thunderbirds National Netball League. They won the premiership last year in the Netball League. Very good coach in Jane Woodlands-Thompson, and Geelong I'm a passionate Geelong supporter, so I'll disclose that. Outstanding. I'll explain it better this way. Brian Cook, who's their CEO, talks about there's two types of mistakes, and it comes back to intent. So, who here follows, you might not follow AFL footy. Do you understand AFL footy? Yeah. So let me take you through it. Hopefully it makes sense in terms of the analogy. he talks about, and I heard him talk to his managers about this, and it was you know, to be candid, it was bloody brilliant the way he explained it. He said, look, in the Geelong Footy Club, there's two types of mistakes we want, that we can make. Number one is I'm sitting back and I'm defending and I'm actually holding back and I'm actually waiting for the ball to happen, to come down. I'm defending my player, but I'm not doing much else. Number two is I'm proactive. As soon as we've got the ball, I'm running to position. I'm actually making sure that I'm actually playing my role in the team and I'm doing the things I need to do. Now, there might be an execution error on the way to kick and goal and there might be a turnover and we lose. But the intent is all about what you need to look at. And the point I'm trying to make, when I look at mistakes in our business, I look at intent. Were we avoiding and being reactive, or were we actually being proactive? And then we can always learn from those mistakes around how we get the execution better. Does that make sense? And I can't stress that enough. And then how you respond as a business owner to that mistake, and you can differentiate. Because if you respond the same way for those two mistakes, what will your staff do the next time they make a mistake? They'll either won't put their head above. I don't know if you've seen that ad where that bloke, his girlfriend comes in and I don't know if you've seen, he puts his head down because he's trying to keep under the radar. You can either withdraw and then you'll get obedient children, which, I'm guessing for those that have got kids, you sure as hell don't want employees that are obedient children. You want them to be proactive and making things happen. There's that way, or they'll understand the difference between the intent. Intent's very important with the way you make mistakes and how you encourage it as a business owner. So I'm going to go through a little bit more. The slides that I'm going to show you, I'm not going to go through every detail. If anyone wants a copy of the slides, Steve, flick them out, give them out to everyone, editable, anything you like, both slides, no problem, and same with the templates and tools. If you want editable copies, just flick them through.
Thanks, mate.
Yep, so growing a business versus building a business, the cornerstone of this presentation. So the challenges with rapid growth that I see is we outgrow our current resources. People are busy but not productive. We have lower staff engagement because we're so reactive to everything and we're reacting rather than planning. Cash shortage from expansion costs, which we talked about before, management under pressure, reduced quality of products and services because we're not getting those basic things right around our systems and processes, and increased staff turnover. There are a number of the things that I see from rapid growth. Now, our business has grown very rapidly in the last 4 years, but we haven't had those challenges because we've very much focused on building a business. But those are some of the experiences if you focus on revenue. And to use an analogy, if I put this analogy, you've got two choices. As a business owner, you can focus on revenue or you can focus on profit. And the language you use with your staff is really important in this area. I'll give the contrast. I want you to grow sales. Or I want you to focus on profitable work with profitable clients, making sure we're focused on our profit. Why is that language so important in terms of the differentiation? Why is it so important, particularly for your staff?
One is vague and one is precise.
Yep. What else? What else in terms of intent though?
One seems quite positive and one seems to be
Yep. But why? I'll drill down further. Why am I saying focusing on profit is far more important than focusing on revenue?
Well, revenue is just focusing on volume.
Very good.
And you're focusing on better clients is what you're asking for
Yep.
profit.
So I'll be really candid with you. So who here knows their EBIT, earnings before interest and tax? So you'd know what you make in terms of earnings before interest and tax. So I'll be very open with you. Our business is 100% focused on EBIT, not revenue. So most businesses will be happy with a 5 or 10% EBIT, 15% EBIT. So I'm being very open because I'll share this with you. I'm going to show our strategic plan in a minute. What type of EBIT do you think we make as a business, our consultancy arm?
I would say out there 30%.
Yep. Others? Yeah. So 45%. So why? I'll ask that question at the end in a minute too. Why am I so focused on profit as opposed to revenue?
Quality of service.
Yes. What else though in terms of my staff, particularly our staff? Yep. Very good. Others? Why is profit such a fundamental thing rather than revenue? And I see a lot of businesses that are like $10 million businesses and they make a 200 grand profit. You could put your money in the bloody bank and get a better return for all the effort that you put in. Yep.
Because you pay
profit, not
Yes.
revenue.
Yes. And cash flow. Cash flow and profit. But don't underestimate as business owners how important that differentiation is. In the language you choose with your staff, the way you target profitable clients rather than reactive clients who might give you lots of work, but they're bloody hard work doing it. Not to mention the fact that it's really hard work for your staff to engage with a client that doesn't treat them well. So, this notion of profit working in profitable markets with profitable clients is really fundamental to everything you want to do around building a business. So just taking on a little bit further, cart driving the horse, setting up success from the start. I see a lot of businesses when they first start, and even now, that focus very much on getting the sales, getting the sales, getting the sales. The real challenge lies, though, in that when it starts to get busy and it gets bigger, cracks start to appear. And so if you can spend the time focusing on your systems and processes, focusing on engaging your team, making sure they're clear on the role clarity, you will have what I call a slow burn to the boil, meaning it will just simmer nicely and build, rather than this reactive, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I'd much rather have a little bit of growth year on year and done in a really enjoyable way and enjoy the journey than a lot of growth, downturn, a lot of growth, downturn, a lot of growth, downturn. It's just not an enjoyable way to run a business, nor is it enjoyable for your staff. So really important around this that most businesses are generally owner and key personnel dependent. They actually don't systemise or document their processes and who does what in the business. Their time and cash poor, lack of collaboration, they don't integrate their systems, and there's a lack of what I call knowledge management. So if I can use an example of that, when you're running your business, and this gives you a little bit of insight in terms of how we work, every time we have an email or a document we've done for a client, we ask ourselves one simple question. Are we going to reuse that email or that document again in our business? And if the answer is yes, guess what we do? We template it. And we integrate it into Outlook and everything else. And I'll show you a live demonstration at the end about how we do that. So that might not sound a big thing, but for 4 years, 365 days a year, 1% improvement every day, guess what we have in our business? Standardised templates, systems, processes for everything, and I mean everything. Outstanding invoice follow-up, bang, insert, tailor. For example, a report on a depot review, we do depot reviews of big councils, all templated, even the emails. Everything, administration guide, everything. So you might laugh at that and think, geez, Kym, that's a lot of work. So for 4 years, 365 days a year, we've done that. So what does it enable our business to now do, though? And by the way, I'm not going to lie to you, the first 2 years were bloody hard. Really hard. Yep. Runs on autopilot. What else?
Not dependent on you.
Not dependent on me, very good. And not dependent on other key people as well. Now you'll laugh at it, and I'm happy to show the system live in terms of actually live here, because it's on a cloud. But it is amazing. More importantly, I believe the most important asset that you have as a business owner is time. I actually don't think it's money, I think it's time. Because you want to spend time with your family, you want to spend time with doing some of the strategic planning, you want to spend time with your family, holidays. Isn't that the reason we went into business? But most of us are time poor because we don't do those small daily habits that lead to staggering results over time. And if you can do that and get into that mindset, it's amazing what it does. So I'll give you an example. By doing that, not only has it made our life easier in BRS, where do you think Easy Consult and Easy Government come from? All the tools and templates we developed. So we've just created passive incomes online because I can be honest with you, I never thought that would happen. I did this because I believed, having worked in other businesses, I was staggered that people don't do it. But now that we've documented everything, I didn't realise people look at it, like Andrew Roberts, a friend of yours, Steve, who come down and saw our business, was a little bit blown away by it. And well, there's an opportunity here to sell it. Hence the reason Easy Consult and Easy Government's come about, and we've tailored it for those markets. And that's the beauty of building versus growing a business, is the opportunities it presents. So I believe there can be a better way, and the whole point of sessions like this, hopefully, is if you get one idea out of this, that's fantastic. I really believe there is a better way. And I'm going to show you a few examples now on how to do it. So balancing growth and sustainability. So I'm just going to ask one question. Are we all in business for more than 3 years? We're in it long term, aren't we? I mean, I can honestly say I think I'm unemployable in a corporate organisation. I'll be too maverick in my approach, and I just can't see the point. I remember when I left corporate life, I remember one thing in particular, writing this bloody 40-page report every month. And the crap that was in that to cover people's bums was just amazing. And the point I'm trying to make is I would never, ever now go back to business, corporate life. I love the flexibility and the time and the freedom that I have. But I know, and this is the point of this slide, it needs to be sustainable. Because there's no point me having a business and not having a life with my wife and my 3 kids. There's no point working my bum off and then not having the time to have travel and adventure. There's no point doing those things. It becomes a rod around your own neck as opposed to something that you really enjoy being a part of. And to me, that's a really important point around sustainability. So, do you systemize? Is your business scalable? Is it planned? Is it strategic? Is it viable? And what are you doing 1% every day? So you don't need to swallow the whole elephant now, but you need to do these small things every day and get your team to know why you're doing it. And I can tell you now, being open with you, do you think my team enjoyed the fact that I was really challenging them to document everything every day? Oh, they loved it. Pig's bum. It was not something that they initially enjoyed. So why do you think they didn't enjoy it?
Staff don't enjoy change.
No, they don't. They're not really. That depends on the staff, but they don't really. You're right. They don't enjoy that. What else though?
Seems like extra work.
Yeah. Yep. What else?
Seems like extra work.
Seems like extra work. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment, and you've got to address that challenge. Anything else? Why do you reckon staff? And by the way, being open and frank with you, we lost a number of staff along the journey that weren't adaptable to that change. And I have a saying which I really like, which is, I can't remember where I heard it from, but I love it. If you can't change the people, change the people. And the whole point behind that is I believe every person should be given the opportunity to be part of the change. But if they don't get on board with the change, we're better off. And they're actually better off without it. So yeah, one of my favourite sayings is if you can't change the people, change the people. But every person, I believe, deserves an opportunity to be part of that change. But if it's not for them, another saying, John Maxwell, who's a great leadership guru, says if you can't ask a horse to climb a tree. There's a fair bit of merit in that quote. You've got to have squirrels if you want them to climb trees. They've got to be adaptable and move and jig and whatever it might be. So again, your whole focus on, we're all in business to build a sustainable business. We're not in business for short-term success. And if you have that mindset and think, well, okay, even 10 minutes a day, even 15 minutes a day is an hour and a quarter a week. Now, you tie that into place, that's 60 hours for each staff member a year. And if you've got 10 staff members, that's 600 hours of documenting and templating your work. Now, if I said to you, if they spend even 15 minutes a day over a year, so you imagine we've been doing it for 4 years, would your systems and processes be better? Would it be not as dependent on you and other key staff? Would it allow you more time to do the things you want to do? Now, that's why I say small daily acts over time lead to staggering results. And that's not my quote, that's from a guy called Robin Sharma. Who here's heard of Robin Sharma? Yeah, Monkey Side is Ferrari, Leadership Without Title. One of the best things I invested in when I left corporate life was I actually invested in being part of his coaching program, similar to this. I used to travel to Toronto every quarter. And it's called the Inner Circle program, most amazing program that I've ever been a part of. And now I've actually just got a new coach called Dan Sullivan, who's the entrepreneurs coach, again based in Toronto. So what you're doing here, spending time as a group, is phenomenal. Like, it's where you learn and you grow and you improve. And I love my time, even though it's a bloody long trip from Adelaide to Toronto every quarter, I can give you the tip. But I come back so inspired and so engaged, and I learn from people every day. But I just can't stress enough this point of a little bit at a time, rather than thinking you've got to eat the whole thing in one bite. And that's what building, to me, is about, is building something great, as opposed to something that's easy. Because it's not easy. And it's very easy to do something else rather than actually spend that 15 minutes a day. And it's the compound effect of it. So I'm going to share with you, to show my openness on this. I thought Nick's comment before, Nick, in terms of speaking before, was spot on. You'll laugh at me, you'll think I'm anal retentive, but hopefully you understand the intent. If you grab these templates, you'll see one there called Easy Consult, and up the top it's got our vision, our mission, our markets. If you can grab that template, I'm a big believer of planning. So every business that I have, the 3 businesses, has a 2-page strategic plan, and even I laugh, and Steve's saying this, I've got a personal strategic plan for my life. So my 5 big projects, I have a personal strategic plan, and I'll share that with you in the afternoon. And my 5 goals in my life, I can talk to you about it, are I want to be the best I can be physically, mentally, and spiritually. I want to be a great family man, husband and friend. I want to build a great entrepreneurial organisation. I want to actually live a life of travel and adventure, and I also want to make sure I give back, which is why I do talks like this and Entrepreneurs Foundation. Now, when I share that plan with you, and I'll distribute it around, Robert, you've got it next to you there and next to my desk there. What I'm going to do is share with you the personal strategic plan. If you want a copy of it, you can have it. But I have a view in life. People spend more time planning their next holiday than what they do their own personal strategic planning. And that's really ironic when you think about it. That we spend more time planning our holiday than actually thinking about what success means for us. Not what success means for others, and not what others want for you, but what does success mean for you? What does it actually mean? What's important to you? And when you go through that process and you clean out the stuff that's not important, it gives you absolute clarity. And Nick talked about he gets up at 5 in the morning and does his visualisation. I get up at around 5:30, 6 in the morning, and the first thing I do is look at my strategic plans for my business and my life. And I'm going to show you the 2. They're a bit ruffled because they sit in my folder every day. I've got them on my iPad. And you can see my personal strategic plan for 2 of my businesses, BRS and Easy Consult. And the 2 businesses have the following. What is our vision and mission? What's our competitive advantage and our unique selling proposition? And all our businesses are built on 6 pillars. Notice the word built. The 6 pillars: financial and operational sustainability. We're not here for a haircut, we're here to make money. Culture, systems and processes, developing our people and capability, marketing and brand, and client satisfaction. And those are our 6 pillars. So that's our aspirational piece on the first page, and that's the template you've got in front of you. And I've written blogs on this, so if you want to look on the blog, I've actually got a completed example on the blog as well. On the second page, we have our goals and targets for the next 12 months and the next 3 years in those key pillars. So I'll ask you the question, why do I look at that plan every day? The 3 plans of our business and my personal strategic plan every day. Why do I look at it?
Clarity, so you know where you're going.
Clarity, and what else? Pardon? Working to a goal, very good. And by the way, I review it quarterly. Do you think I hit my goals every quarter? But I have this view in life, if I aim for the stars, I'll hit the moon. So what I mean is they get me so clear on where I want to go. And you'll see the completed ones just here, which I'm happy, if you want a copy of the completed ones, I'm happy to share them. They're our strategic plans. They're the last strategic plan. I've just updated them over the weekend. But I'm trying to make a point here. Why? The other reason I have a strategic plan, and this is a Steve Jobs quote, this isn't my quote. You have goals and a simple plan, and I always keep it 2 pages, not to help you choose what to do, but to help you choose what not to do. So I don't know if you're aware of the story when Steve Jobs left Apple. He left Apple and then come back, went to Pixar and a whole range. What a lot of people don't realise, the first thing, maybe not the first thing, but let's say it's one of the first things he did, Apple at the time when he come back had 220 different products. Within 3 months he stripped it back to 6, and ones you know now, iPhone, iPod, etc., etc. So, why am I making that point? He stripped back from 220 to 6. What do most businesses do, and most people? And try and be everything to everyone. If you want to be really good at what you do, focus on a fewer things and actually work towards them. And what we do with our plans, which you'll see as you see them going around, we have quarterly key initiatives we implement against our plan. But it's all about building a great business. It's all about putting the building blocks in place. And the reason it's 2 pages is every person has a copy of it, and I'll show you some pictures in a minute. It's visible in our entire office. I want the initiatives in that strategic plan to be brain tattooed in every one of my staff. So why would I want them to be brain tattooed into every one of our staff? That's right. Do you remember what I said? Big picture, role clarity, communication, collaboration. Do you think our staff know the big picture? Hopefully. I don't mean that cynically, but I'm constantly trying to reinforce. This is why we're doing it, guys, because we're trying to build towards this goal. This is our KPI. And it might, the constant excuse I hear from business owners is, and other people is, I'm too busy to do a plan. So what happens if you don't have a plan? What do your staff do? I don't mean this negatively, but I'm trying to make a point. If you don't have a plan that you're trying to get their effort directed towards, what do your staff do? They're busy. They're not productive. They do the next most urgent thing rather than actually what's going to have an impact or add value to your clients or your business. So the reason I think planning is so important, which was the next point, is if you don't have a plan, people will be busy, not productive. And they won't understand how their individual effort contributes to the bigger picture. Does that make sense? So I can't stress enough how important your plan is. And then what you then do is work the plan. Review the plan. Allocate tasks towards that plan. And be disciplined enough, and I use the analogy of, I've got 3 kids, 7, 5 and 3. And when our children were younger, for those who've got children would know the analogy, if you shadow a bell next to them, oh, a new toy, and they go straight for that new toy. I think there's a lot of businesses that do that. They're flattered by a client coming to them in an area they don't normally do. Oh, a new service or new revenue, and then they go straight to it, rather than being disciplined enough to work towards their plan. The clients they want to work with, the markets they want to work in, the type of services that they are really good at. And that's what I mean by the comment. It doesn't just help you choose what to do, it helps you choose what not to do. Does that make sense? Yeah. And really important in terms of doing it, and just some tips around this. To me, your strategy should link to what you do and your staff do on a day-to-day basis. You need to ensure that your day-to-day actions contribute and add value to the overall success of the strategy. And I believe the plan should empower your staff into action rather than reports. I'm not a fan of reports, so I'll show you the one balanced scorecard we have for our entire business. I'm not interested in looking at anything else around reporting other than this one page. I'll show you in a minute. And you know what, just a tip as business owners, once you've got your plan in place and you communicated it, get out the way and let your staff get on with the jobs. As funny as that sounds, you understand my intent if you own a business. Because every time you're stopping them from doing things, they will very rarely step up again. So you've got to step out and empower, and then coach and counsel around getting them closer to your plans. So this is another one that I want to show you in terms of templates. Hopefully these templates are useful, guys. Yep. This is one that I'm a huge advocate of, and this is the template. If you grab the template, and like I said, anything else that you see today on the slides, just after I'll send you a copy of them. You'll see here a role clarity matrix. Now, if I was to pick one tool that has transformed our business to being a really great business, if I ask you these tough questions, do you think all your staff know what their role is? Yes? No? Yep, good. So then I'll ask the next tough question. Do you think they know the role of every other person in the team? No? Yes? Yep, good. Others? No? So what we have when we walk in, if you walk into our office in Adelaide, we have this, a role clarity matrix. And what you see up here is the initials of every person in our team. And what it enables everyone to do is, don't come to me as the business owner, go to the person who owns that part of our business and who's responsible for it. And you'll notice the headings are the headings of our pillars. So why have I put the headings of our strategic plan pillars in the role clarity matrix? Why do you reckon I'm brain tattooing into them the pillars of the strategic plan with their roles? What am I trying to get them to think about? What's that, sorry? Very good. Ownership, yep. What else? Yes, good. What else? What do I want them coming to work every day thinking? Exactly right. That's how individuals in our team contribute inch by inch, day by day, task by task, to our strategic plan. Everything you do adds value. Guess what, Johnny? The work you're doing around the fact that you review our proposals adds value to our financial and operational sustainability pillar. The stuff you're doing around the marketing and brand helps us get our brand out there. And every person we put up there. Now, my argument to those that said that know their roles, if you go back and straw poll your staff, if I can be respectful on this, they might know 70 or 80% of what everyone else does. I don't reckon it'll be 100%. What you want to do as a business owner is eliminate that grey area, because that's where all the reactive crap comes in. That's where people can't make decisions, they procrastinate and they avoid, and things don't happen. I want every staff member in our team to know who to go to and who's responsible for what, and we update it quarterly. And it hits you as soon as you walk in. It's above our wall. Everyone knows who does what. Because I want this boat, which is our business, to go faster and be efficient and people to be empowered and love what they do and have a great culture. That's what we want in our business. Not because it's my personal want, it's because I know that works in our business. But, this is the but, you have to have staff that want to take ownership, that want to take responsibility, and that want to be empowered to get on with the job. And we're lucky, we've got a great team. But, I tell you what, we've had to turn some people over to get the right people. I don't mean that disrespectfully, I mean that with the right positive intent. Hire and attitude, skill up. Does that make sense, guys? Has everyone got any questions around that role clarity matrix? I'm happy to answer them. I think it's extremely valuable if you're serious about having a team that's empowered. Yeah?
Yeah, when you've got specific people for,
Yes.
for a specific job,
Yep.
and so it's black and white.
Not always black and white.
Yeah,
So, can I use an analogy? We will see, if you look at the detail, there'll be smaller initials where someone provides a support role. It's not always black and white that one person owns it. So sometimes we have to have two initials, but someone that's in smaller initials for a support role. Not always black and white, and there's always new things that come up, but I'm getting closer and closer to it being really clear. Yeah, not always black and white.
Yeah, and because there's always the danger of them saying, "Oh, that's not my role. You know,
Yes.
it's your role." Is there the
Yep.
you know where they can cooperate and work together?
So what we do to mitigate that risk, it's a great question, is we've got our holdings incentive program that is measured entirely by team behaviours. And our incentive program is called Victor to Vegas. For those that know Adelaide, there's a little town called Victor Harbour, which is only an hour away, and we've got another town, you might have heard of it, called Las Vegas. So what we do at the end of the year, if we've hit our targets, if we haven't hit them, we go to Victor, we're going to go anyway. If we hit our targets, we go to Vegas. We reward 100% on team behaviours, which includes collaboration, so that minimises any risk that people just think that's a silo. So it's called Victor to Vegas, our incentive program, and it works well for us. Yeah?
So this role clarity matrix, did you make that up as you went along?
Yes, we did. That's exactly the point that I'm trying to make. We didn't have these answers, if I can be this open, at the start. But as we've documented everything, as we've templated everything, like you'll laugh, this is a bit radical, but every team member in our team has to write a blog once a month. It's one of their KPIs. So we have written in two of our businesses over 220 blogs. Now, why do you reckon I get everyone to write a blog in our business once a month? Why? Very good. What does writing a blog make you do? Reflect, learn, improve. Now, if you go to our 2 blogs, you'll be blown away with the volume, and very few, well actually to be fair, a number of them are from me, but they're getting more and more done by the team. This comes from one of the staff, not from me, by the way. One of the best things we've ever implemented. Yep. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer. Yeah.
So Kym, a lot of people will start with a blank sheet of paper.
Yes, I will.
So what's step 1?
Yep, so step 1, what we did, we take our team away every quarter for half a day. What we literally did, it was as simple as this, is got a flip chart for each person, and we've just asked them, we literally asked them, how much, what do you do? We literally asked them. They sat up with their flip chart, like against the wall, you know, the sticky flip charts. They wrote their tasks. We then talked about it as a team, and we asked some key questions. Do the current activities play to everyone's strengths? And by the way, we get everyone, there's a free tool called Mybriggs online. I can send you the link. We have everyone in our team tested for Mybriggs, because we want to understand what their strengths are and their thinking preferences are, and we get them to play to their strengths. So first step, they documented their roles. Second step, we made decisions as a team, are people playing to their roles? Third step, write all the things that you're not clear on and I'll allocate with the team responsibility for those things. We took that output note, Steve, turned it into this document. And then every quarter we update it. Yeah.
I think everybody in this room can do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Come back to me with an email. If it does not change the way your team's empowered, I'd be staggered. It really has been a game changer for our business. And ironically, I help companies in big multi-billion dollar bids. Guess what's the first thing I do when I've got different organisations coming in to win a bid? What do you reckon is the first thing I do?
Find out everyone's right.
Spot on. And then we get that boat going faster, and that's why we're bloody good at winning bids for big companies.
So your processes and systems that you put in place make sure that this doesn't end up being a key man situation.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. And that's why you'll notice we've got initials next to other people. But the other thing that we do at the same time, which I'm going to talk about after lunch, is I believe there's things that staff do that are high payoff activities and there's things that they do that are low payoff activities. 12 months ago, we introduced virtual assistants and outsourcing into our business. We have 5 virtual assistants in the Philippines, around 15 contractors on ODS 5 a freelancer. And we challenged our team to let go of transactional low payoff activities. So they're rewarded because guess what? They don't do a lot of that repetitive stuff anymore. So you've got to give them a carrot because they all want to learn and improve. But no doubt about it, this does not mean that we've got key personnel. And bear in mind what I said before, we've systemised and documented, which means you've got the systems and processes anyway. Does that make sense, guys? Any other questions before I move on?
Does anybody think they can't do it?
Please raise it if you think you can't, because I'm happy to talk it through. Yes?
Is your initials up there?
No, you'll notice. That's a very, very perceptive comment. Jeez, I like your thinking. You've got bloody good eyes.
No, I can't see. That's what
So I'm gonna. I actually was going to talk about that, but
Yes.
that's a great segue. So,
Thank you.
do you see my name up there?
No.
Where?
KW.
Yes. But look what's written next to it.
You always got a partner.
Yeah. Look. Let's look at it. KW. And look what the thing that's next to me. One-on-ones. I have a one-on-one with every one of my staff member every fortnight. So why do I commit? And I commit. I do not do this crap where I put a one-on-one in my diary and then cancel at the last minute. You just don't build trust in your team. I commit to a one-on-one with you every fortnight. That's the one thing I've got up there. Why? What am I doing with those great people we've got in my one-on-one with them? Coaching them. That's where I add the best value to the business. And also being out with clients, because I love being with clients. I didn't build this business. A lot of our clients don't even know I own the business. And my wife. You work for BRS, it seems like a great company. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. That's all I say. I tell you what, my wife is fantastic in the systems and the processes. She's part of Dale Bonus coaching program, loves it, thinks it's great. She goes away every quarter, systemises the back end. Don't take this the wrong way, but that does not tickle me at all, the detail and the systems. Being with clients and being passionate about what I do, that's where I play to my strengths. That's why the role clarity matrix has one thing on there for me. Very good pickup. Sorry, you're going to ask a question before?
Well, no, I was asking, I was going to ask about your staff meetings. Like
Yes.
You have your one-on-ones, but do you also have like weekly or?
We do. So we have the meetings we have. Happy to answer any of these questions. We have a top 10 at 10 on Monday morning, where we all get together, and I'm a big believer in stand-up meetings, so I'll be very frank with you on that. I'm not a fan of meetings that waffle on. So we have a top 10 at 10, where the team drive it, I sit back, and we document the top 10 priorities for the week, the proposals we're working on, and the practice development work. For those that can't make it, because there will always be, we take a photo on the iPad, it's sent out to everyone. Everyone knows what the priorities are for the week, that's the one. Fortnightly, we have a team meeting, which focuses more on where we're at and what we need to focus on, more at a strategy level. And then, the only other meeting we have is the one-on-ones. I'm not a fan of meetings, and I'll have to be frank on that. But the top 10 at 10 gives role clarity on who's doing what for the week. It normally is something like a top 15, to be fair. Yeah. Yes?
Sorry. What about upskilling your staff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important point. So every person in our plan has, in our business has a personal growth plan. We take them, we use a tool called Human Synergistics it's a development tool around, it gets into the psyche of how they think. And then we put development action plans because every person thinks differently. It's called Human Synergistics. We use that. Every person has a lifestyles inventory done every 12 months. I'll talk more about this in the afternoon. I get an assessment on me as a leader, 360 route every 12 months, and it's brutal. And it's all about what I can do to have a more positive impact. So you've got to put the mirror, and they are my results are completely on the wall. And the reason they're on the wall, respectfully, is because I want to be better every day. One of the things I have in my hand, I told a couple of people in my when we're around, I have 3 words AI on my hand, always learning and improving. And the better I can be as a leader, the more positive impact I have on my team. So, you know, if you're going to practice this stuff, you've actually got to front up. So just a couple of other things I'll just highlight. I'm mindful, we've got around 20 minutes, give or take. Yeah, give or take. Yep. Guys, is this useful in terms of the templates? And if you want anything else, you just ask. I'm happy to share it. I love Robin Sharma, so he was my coach for 2 years. I think the guy's great. I think his books are fantastic. But I love this quote about, think about when you're documenting your systems and processes, how to make it as simple as possible to do business with yourself. So I'm a really big fan of integrated systems rather than one system for this and one system for that and one system for this. I'm a big believer of integrating everything, which I'll talk more about. But you should be looking for simplicity. Don't add layers of crap into your business because one child has done the wrong thing. And it's the analogy of the school child where sometimes the teacher penalises the whole classroom because one kid did something wrong. Analyse it, don't add another procedure for it. Trust the rest of the class to do the right thing. Deal with that instance respectfully, but what I'm trying to make the point, don't add layers of crap that don't add any value, because staff get annoyed about the fact that you've just added stuff that doesn't add any value. So, opportunities to build, I'll quickly go through a couple of slides. I'm not going to show all of them because the slide pack will be available. But 5 key things. Build scalability into your organisation. Build a great business rather than just grow revenue. Automate your business to spend more time with your clients. That's what I love doing. That's why I've set the business up the way I have. Document everything. Build collaboration into your business. So incentivise, your comment before, incentivise your team to do the right things. You know, nothing annoys me more than seeing reward and recognition schemes where, yep, little Johnny was up till all hours of the night to get a key proposal in for us. Well done, Johnny. And then I find out and I ask questions like, okay, so when did we get the proposal? 3 weeks ago. So why the hell was the planning done where he had to work 3 nights before the tender was due? And why the hell are we rewarding that behaviour rather than actually being proactive and getting it in before? So be really careful what you reward as a business owner. Because if you're rewarding that type of crap, and I'll call it crap, you are rewarding this heroic effort rather than what I call bricklaying efforts. I want our staff to be bricklayers. Foundation in building a great business. Owning the business. Being incentivised the right way. And so how you reward will reflect the fact that you're condoning that behaviour. If you've made a decision, you put a tender in 2 days before and he's worked all hours, I'd respectfully analyse what the hell went wrong for us to be in that position in the first place. And I mean that in a respectful way. So scalability, I just want to make the point, these slides, as I said, I'll just go through. Focus on this key point. I believe the energy you provide to your staff by actually having a positive, proactive business is far more important than anything else. Are you reactive as a business owner, or are you proactive? Have you got a plan that they can work towards and understand, or are you just jumping at shadows? You've got to do the work in that area. No one else can do it. So that's the first one. So, you know, this whole analogy of building scalability, continuous improvement, using technology, role clarity, reducing waste. Look at the things that you're doing. And one of the things I often say to people, and it's one of the things I have a list of, you'll laugh. I don't actually have just a start doing list. I have a stop doing list. So one of the things we do in our business, it's just a tip once a month, we do it over a beer on a Friday night once a month. We do a simple exercise with flip charts called stop, start, continue. And these are literally the flip charts are up with the heading stop, start, continue. And this is what we do. So we're all having a beer, so there's a bit of liquid courage there, pretty open and pretty honest. Yeah. So what are the things in the business we need to stop doing? What are the things we need to start doing? And what are the things we're doing that are great that we need to continue doing? Literally flip chart, give everyone a pen. People write it up. And for those introverts who potentially are extroverted in meetings, they get the opportunity to write, and I ask them to prepare. And then we ask this question, for the next month, what do you want me to focus on as a business owner? And so they all get, you'll laugh at this story, 5 dots each. And they dot the ones that are most important to them. And I tally up those dots, and those 4 or 5 key things are the things I commit to focusing on as the business owner. to either remove bottlenecks, speed things up, or make things happen. So stop, start, continue is a great way to get feedback in an objective way. So I talked about the role clarity. I'll just quickly go through here just a couple of things I wanted to show. I really believe there is a wonderful opportunity for all business owners now to use virtual assistants and outsourcing. And I think a lot of people believe it's a threat. I see it as a wonderful opportunity to move us higher towards the high payoff activities. And one of the things I ask each of you to think about is, are you doing a heap of tasks because you feel busy and you feel safe? Or are you doing them, should you be letting them go? Because if you're not letting them go, you're actually not doing high payoff activities. You're keeping yourself safe, well, good on you for that. But you're not actually moving towards that high payoff activity. And I just respectfully suggest there's a huge opportunity, and I've written some blogs on Easy Consult about how you move to that and do it in a way where, we took 12 months to train and put up videos and do a range of things to build a great virtual assistant team. And you'd be staggered how much it frees up your time. So converting knowledge into documents and templates. I've written some notes not to, for you to read now, but for you to have that as part of the slide pack. Because sometimes you forget those things, so I've been in talks where I forget it. But I was just talking about 10 minutes a day for every staff member, just to document an area. Think about the results over a 1, 2, 3, 4 year period. Phenomenal when you think about that. And we're not in business for 1 or 2 years. We're in there hopefully for the rest of our life, as long as we're enjoying it and providing great service. So just a couple of areas, templating your work, I mentioned that before. I just make the point, and this was raised before, Emily, you made a really good point around this. I believe in collaboration. Collaboration for me is everything. So how you network, how you share knowledge, how you actually create great relationships, how you build and learn from others. So that's one of the things where our whole incentive program is driven towards collaboration. Very important that I drive the right behaviours in the way I incentivise our staff. Benefits of collaboration I've talked about. So just the final point, if I can just stress this point, that's hopefully what you've learnt today. You want to get the foundations right. You're not building something for the next 6 months. You're building something to be great over time. Something you can enjoy. Something that you're passionate about. Something that you actually enjoy going to work rather than thinking, oh shit, I'm coming to work and I've got a lot of stress and I've got too many things on and I'm not enjoying the work I do because I'm too much into rats and mice. You don't want to be in that space. It's not why I went into business. I went into business generally to hopefully do some of the other things I love, which I'll share my personal strategic plan with you in the afternoon. It was not to make heaps of money. I've got enough money. I'm happy with my life. I've got a great life, fantastic, very supportive wife and 3 beautiful kids, It's why I work. So I'm just going to highlight just one other thing at the end. If I can just highlight this key point, continuous improvement. If you can think about what I've talked about today, and I'll talk about culture in the afternoon, how you build a great culture so you don't have staff that sit back, just understand this key point. Every little bit that you do, top 10 priorities, one-on-one sessions with your staff, updating your client database because it's a bloody good thing to do, templating and documenting your processes, and I love this little template. You've got a balanced scorecard, which I'll show you in a minute on how you measure it, and team meetings. Every little bit gets you better and better and better. So we get better at our top 10, I get better at coaching our staff, I get better at the role clarity. Every little bit is making us better. And that's the goal. And watch how much more you enjoy your business.
Kym, can I just ask
Yeah, please.
When you coach your staff,
yes,
because I think this is valuable for some of the people in the room,
yep.
What are some of the things you concentrate on?
Yep, so some key points. So again, I'm being really candid here. The meeting request does not come from me, it comes from the staff member. Why? The meeting request for the one-on-one comes from the staff member, not me. Why? Yep, but what else? This is a really important point around mindset and around who is responsible for their own development. They want to learn. Staff members turn up, if they don't turn up prepared with their planning and their prioritisation, which I'll talk about in the afternoon, guess how long the one-on-one lasts for? 20 seconds. Guys, look, you're not prepared, we'll please book another time. Now, I'm not sounding harsh on that, but you understand my intent. I'm not there to keep my staff happy, but nothing pleases me more than seeing the success stories in our staff. But I'll tell you what, I do not want dependent and obedient children. So the things I focus on, are they taking personal responsibility? Are they planning well? Have they got the right habits? Are they actually in a learning and growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset? And the other thing I really work on is, do they understand the bigger picture and why we're doing it? So a lot of my one-on-ones, and this is a key point if you want to be a great coach with your staff, don't focus on what they need to do or how they do it. Focus on the why. Why do you think we need to do that? Why do you think you're doing what you're doing? So why do you think I focus on the why in my coaching sessions rather than the what and the how? It's a very important point around mindset. They know why they're doing it, because it's the why that shifts people to action, not the what and the how. This is a very important fundamental point around coaching. So most of the coaching sessions, I ask more questions than tell. To answer your question.
Yeah, so possibly there's a problem with culture in a company.
Yeah.
It's because that why,
It's
they
not
don't
clear.
understand why they're doing something.
Well, they don't understand the strategic plan. They don't understand why their role contributes. They don't understand why they need to collaborate. So focus on the why. When we come from strong technical backgrounds, and if we've done someone else's job before, we're bloody good at telling someone, I think you need to do it that way. Nothing demotivates people more than you telling them how to suck eggs. Focus on the why and then trust them to get that happening. Because once you get them on the why, they connect. They connect in a huge way. Does that make sense? Answer your question? So just the final comment I wanted to highlight before I open it up. For all these things, you want to be measuring how you're tracking. You want to make sure you're responding and providing timely corrective. And you want to regularly review your strategy and communicate that progress to the team. This is literally, and I've written a blog on this balanced scorecard, and there's a template if you want it. I have a one-page balanced scorecard with 9 key measures, and those measures are from our strategic plan. So I've one for each business. And it's measured by traffic light systems. So then when we're doing our top 10, what do you reckon we're doing with the team? Is saying, look, this is a yellow, which is our pipeline, which is the work coming in. Guys, what do you reckon we can do to get that to turn to a green? Then, for example, our revenue mix is a bit lumpy at the moment. We've got too much work with one client. What do we need to do to get other work? So why do you reckon I use literally a one-page balanced scorecard? That's the only reporting we do in our business, other than the P&L for the accountant. But yep. And guess what I spend a lot of time on? Do you know why we measure these 9 key measures? Do you know why they're important to our business? Because if you don't, I'll explain it to you. And look at the headings. They're all tied back to our key pillars in our strategic plan. Again, line of sight, everything tied back to the plan. We're working the plan, boys and girls. We're working the plan. That's what we're doing with our reporting. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the cockpit.
Pardon?
It's the cockpit.
It is the cockpit. That's a great analogy. I use the analogy. It's like our instrumentation for us driving that plane. So we need to alter and adjust, be adaptable, alter and adjust. That's what we're adapting. Greens are looking good, guys. We've got to cut the yellows. What are we going to do about the yellows? What does the team need to do? So they come out of that meeting crystal clear on what we need to do. Hit them with a 40-page report and you will not get ownership. Hit them with a one-pager linked to your strategic plan and watch them just do it. And then I just step back and I just watch them run. And I love that. But it's had to mean, all jokes aside, I've had to be very patient in the way I coach. And not yell and rant, but just coach and teach, coach and teach, coach and teach.
Did you find you can keep who's work?
Oh, absolutely. That's my point about it, you can't change the people.
Spend all that time coaching.
No. I have a rule on that, coach, counsel, discipline. So I'll always coach. I'll then counsel to say, look, this is the impact of your behaviour. This is what needs to change. And then the discipline's the last bit. Coach, counsel, discipline. You never go to just discipline, you go to coach, counsel, discipline. But you need to be very open and candid. Yeah.
Can you give an example, Kym, of some of the people you've shown?
The door. Yep. No, I can. I'm happy to. You know, it's really interesting. It had nothing to do with their attitude. Sorry, it had nothing to do with their technical. It was everything to do with their attitude, Steve. So, for example, I don't need to record that email in our document management system. I don't need to update my balanced scorecard from a measure. That crap's for everyone else. I'm too busy with clients. Is it too busy for you? Okay, well then, this is not going to work. So it's normally the bricklaying ethics that they're not prepared to do. And sometimes you get people with a very big ego who think they're above it. Well, no one's above it, including me. And I've got to role model the right behaviour from the start too. So it's normally 100% attitude issues. Or not being adaptable to change. Meaning, I've always done this job. You're giving some of my work to a virtual assistant. You know, well, no, guys, what I'm wanting you to do is, what would you like to do? Like, one of the best stories, Erin, who you dealt with a bit, the things I'm most proud of, we've got administration staff that started with us that are now consultants. I could not be prouder. They've let go of their baggage around, I'm safe being an administration person, and now they're consultants. Well, you know, I'm really proud, and I'll invest as much money and time as they need, as long as they've got a growth mindset. So 100% attitude. Yeah. So I won't show the demonstration because we're running out a little bit of time. But if you want to see it, I'll show you live our systems. You can see how we integrate everything. We've got it on a cloud. But I was just going to open it up for any questions. I'm hoping that was of value. The templates that I've also got here that I didn't go through are the ones that we're going to go through more in the afternoon. But I'm really hoping you got some value out of that. And if there's any other templates you saw, like the balance scorecards that you like, just ask and I'll send them through. I'm more than happy to send them through to Steve and then use them as you see fit, because you know my passion with this is about helping others, and I wish I'd had some of this stuff when I first started 4 years ago, but because we'd had the discipline of documenting everything, it's just enabled us to continue to grow and improve. So thank you very much. Hopefully that was useful, and hopefully I'll see you this afternoon for the one around culture, because I think culture, this can't happen without having a great culture.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Are you ISO 9000?
No, it's a really good point. We decided, when you see our systems, we've gone down that path of using the principles. We never went down the path of getting.
I recognize
it's nearly exactly the same. So you know the PDCA process in ISO. It's based on those principles. Because my background, I was an auditor, so I've come from that background. So yes, I would say if we went and got accredited, it would get accredited, but we haven't got formal accreditation. Again, I don't want to add layers of certification if we don't need it. We just do it anyway. Yeah, thank you.
Do you reward success?
Yes, we do.
So as in cash incentive,
Yeah.
or the
No, incentive program. So a joint team trip, and then also a lot of our staff will earn nearly as much from the incentive program as what they do their base salary. But it's rewarded 100% on team behaviours. And if you want an example of the incentive program, I'm happy to give you a copy of it. So I'll show you how we reward the behaviours. Combination of individual behaviours and team behaviours, 50-50. But mostly around the bricklaying efforts. Have they documented stuff? Have they put documents in the record management system? Have they updated the CRM database every time they're out with the client? Because guess what? If I reward the bricklaying behaviours, what gets measured gets improved, funnily enough. Who would have thought? So we tie the bricklaying efforts I was talking about through this presentation to our incentive program. I call it the causals, not the symptoms. Yep. Yes?
Sorry, just another question.
Yeah.
Do you adapt it differently when you've got big organisations that you're
Yes.
looking at compared to smaller organisations when you've got like 4 people in a business and they're wearing different hats all the time?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where you're juggling different hats. Yeah.
Not really. What I'd then do is probably have a few initials next to it. I'll give you an example of what I mean. So I've got 3 businesses. 2 of the businesses are pretty much automated, easy consulting governments. We don't have many staff, about 3 or 4. The consulting business has about 25. So same principles, adapted of course slightly differently, but same principles, same pillars, same systems, same processes. Yeah, so unless there's a good reason we need to change it, we should be changing all of it anyway. But you notice 2 pages because it's simple. 1 page balance scorecard because it's simple. Simplicity is the key. Yeah. Any other questions anyone wants to ask?
We've got a bit of time, guys, so before we break for lunch. So I think it's a great opportunity. Who's found it valuable? Just stick your hands up if you think this stuff here is valuable. Implementing a little bit of what Kym has shown us in the last 90 minutes, if we can pop that up and just pop it into your business and have that turnkey sort of approach, what's that going to mean? What's that going to mean for Pepperell and Associates down in Milton?
Value. Yeah. Well, the value that can bring to the business.
Yeah. We now sell all those templates for Easy Consult and Easy Government. Yeah. But guys, can I just make a point, because I'm reading the body language, just a tip. There will be this point where you'll look at it and think this is quite overwhelming. But what you don't understand is if I presented this 4 years ago to myself, I would have found it overwhelming. What you've got to understand is this has been 1% effort for 1,285 days since we started the business.
Yeah.
It's 1% effort and it's just evolved over time. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. We do consulting and we'll do like a complete depot review of a council and it might be a 40 or 50 grand job. Now, hopefully none of you work for a council, but you understand my point. Because we've documented every email, template, system, process, we'll do a review like that, 50 grand job, we will do it for 20 grand and make huge margins and then deliver all these templates as additional value to the client. Remember my comment before? We don't chase revenue, we chase profit. This crap of selling time this crap of just going, oh, well, I'll just do it the same way and not document what you've done, it doesn't make any sense to me. But if you get into this habit of documenting, e.g. your breakfast invites, e.g. your emails to clients, your outstanding invoices, we've got a whole range of templates which I'll show you. Watch the power and the energy it frees up in your business. And I'm being open, I know Nick he works long hours. I work 35 hours a week. I do not work long days. First 2 years I worked my ass off. I do not work long days now. The business works for me.
Yeah. So it is a bit overwhelming. How are you guys feeling? A little bit. We love it. We've got the 4 years later version, which looks, I think we can all agree, sensational.
One bite at a time, though.
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
I don't know, I might ask a question on behalf of the group. What is the best place to start at? Where do we want to kick the ball off?
Well, first things first, if you want any of the templates, I've already provided them to you, so give them out. Okay. My suggestion would be, if you want to fast track this stuff, go to our website like Easy Consult. We sell all those templates. If you want them, you can have them basically for professional services consulting. But I believe, even if they're not perfect, you can at least adapt them, and they're all editable. So, we've got everything. You'll laugh at this, you'll think I'm quirky, but we've got everything from administration activities, BD activities, proposal activities, through to a whole range, IT activities, our virtual assistant, and how we do work requests with our virtual assistants. They're all there. So it's not a matter of then taking them and going, I need to implement all of them. Implement a few at a time, but don't reinvent the wheel, and that's why I make the point, I wish Easy Consult was around when I started the business, because it has evolved, Steve. It hasn't been something where I thought I'll have this idea from the start. But what I wanted to do was make sure that I created a business that wasn't dependent on me. And so if I say to you now you know the secrets behind why the experience in the last 8 weeks has been a positive one for you.
Yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake you made in the first probably year?
I made many mistakes. Biggest mistake was trying to be everything to everyone. The reason, it's ironic, that strategic plan I shared with you, has anyone got the strategic plans I shared? So guys, can I ask a blunt question? You read our strategic plans, I've shared them all with you, been very open. What do you notice about the 2 strategic plans for Easy Consult and BRS? And I'll show you my personal strategic plan in the afternoon. Same, very good. What else do you notice though about the KPIs what's that, sorry? Slightly different KPIs, because both businesses are different. The first thing that you should do, and this was a mistake we made in the first 12 months, we didn't have a strategic plan. We were trying to be everything to everyone. Once we got our strategic plan in place, we then had the discipline to work the plan and just bite it off one bite at a time. So if you do one thing out of that session, just take the time to develop up a 2-page strategic plan for your business. And you know what? The first one we did was crap. But I use the analogy, it's a bit like the Michelangelo analogy. I don't know if you heard Michelangelo talk about his statue David. And he talks about this analogy. It was actually very easy to see David because all I did was remove the stuff that wasn't David. I feel like that a bit with strategic planning. I've got better and better at focusing on what I do as opposed to what I don't do. If you don't have a plan, you're trying to be everything to everyone. We suffer from that in a big way. The other big mistake, just another tip, I hired people that had great looking resumes from corporate but couldn't work in small business. Shit, I'll tell you what, some expensive hires. People that, I can do that, yeah. But they weren't prepared to get dirty and share and collaborate. They wanted to sit with their title and all that other crap that goes with status, and expensive hires cost us a lot of money. Yep. So we made many mistakes in that area.
So maybe write that down. 2-page strategic plan.
Yep.
We're all going to work on our 90-day action plan tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
So maybe that is something that we can revisit tomorrow afternoon when we spend 45 minutes looking at our 90-day action plan.
So just to highlight that, we do 90-day action plans in our business, and I'll show it in the one in the afternoon. So that strategic plan is updated after we do our 90-day plan. So the key initiatives you would have seen on the strategic plan, which are under each pillar, they come from our 90-day plan. So we update and reflect and adapt our 90-day planning back into the strategic plan. And because it's already there, it takes an hour. 2
seconds. Yeah. Let's just do it the first one. It takes time.
That's the key, because we put it off.
Yeah.
And I was guilty of that. Troy, to answer your question, for the first 12 months, I can be everything to everyone. Oh, it'll be right. I'll just wait for the money to come in. It just didn't work for me. And then once we got this,
yeah. And it's interesting when I look through the room, because I always think about what's going to be most valuable for different people. When I look around the room, we've got people who are starting out.
Yep.
We've got people who've been in business for a long time. So I guess the perfect time is if you're starting out. The perfect time is if you've been in business for 10 years. The perfect time's now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the comment I'd make, guys, if I can just give you a tip, I didn't present this to go rah-rah or go and implement all the tools. Pick the one or two things that resonate with you. So if the strategic plan resonates with you, implement that. If it's the role clarity matrix, implement that. And then just do one thing every week or every month and just watch your business then thrive, and it will actually thrive without you. And surely that's the goal of everyone in this room. I know it's my goal. It's why I've done it. I haven't done it for any other reason. I've been really selfish in saying I will not let this business consume me. And I don't want it to. I love my business, but I tell you what, I love my family, and I love my leisure, and I love my lifestyle. I go back to my parents' farm every 10 weeks and help my younger sisters back on the farm. You know, she tells me I'm fat and I'm old and my hands are soft, and but I love it, because it's where I grew up and it's my family identity. So, I would not be able to do that if I had a business that was dependent on me. That's what I meant. Time is my most important asset.
Excellent. Well, that is fantastic. So, guys, if you want to put your hands together for Kym.